blastmusic247.com. We're changing the industry one artist at a time.
Hey family, welcome back to another episode of Moments with Myra. Today is special. We're celebrating Black History Month by sitting down with a history maker right here in our own state, High Point, North Carolina, first African American mayor and the youngest mayor that the city has ever elected, Mayor Cyril Jefferson. Mayor Jefferson, thank you so much for taking a moment to be with me today.
Absolutely, Myra. I appreciate you, and I'm so excited about today's conversation. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. So, before we get into the title and the position and all of that stuff, I always like to start with the person. So tell me about young Cyril. What was your world like growing up? Who poured into you? And who do you feel shaped your life the most?
Yeah, those are great questions. Prior to living in High Point, I actually was born in upstate New York, small city called Utica, New York. And when I was 3, my mom and dad split, and our family relocated down here to the South. I actually lived in Forsyth County for more than 10 years, first in Kernersville for about a year and a half, and then in Winston-Salem for 9 years. And that was a great experience for me. Went to Bolton Elementary and then Wiley Middle School. And then my mom married my stepfather, who's a furniture upholsterer. And like a lot of people, furniture brought me to High Point. And I've been in High Point basically ever since, aside from some time going away to college. But I'm someone who grew up going to church every Sunday, learning how to play the drums because my mom has been an organist, keyboard player, whatever you want to call it. She's played keys for like 50 years now.
Oh, wow.
And we grew up as a tight-knit family, not only loving our faith, and not only loving music, but also loving sports and just having a good time. Values around service and education, hard work, integrity were big pillars of what we learned coming up, and the same kind of things that my wife and I are hopefully instilling into our 2 young boys.
Now, with you saying, the background and you're talking about service and community, and especially with being involved in church, they teach us a lot about giving back to the community. Was leadership something you always felt in your spirit to do? Because I don't know anybody that's like, I want to be the mayor, or I want to be the president, or anything in politics. So was that something that you felt in your spirit moved to do? Or when did you realize, hey, this might be something that I'm interested in?
No, I don't think growing up I ever thought about, seriously going into public office, being an elected official. Did I know at some point maybe there'd be leadership in my future? I don't know. When we were kids, most times we were imagining being, maybe we played cops and robbers, or maybe we imagined we'd be some professional basketball player or something of that nature. Didn't grow up thinking about what it meant to be a leader. But as I look back in hindsight, Myra, it feels like so many of the moments, so many of the memories that I have were times that were shaping me into what this is now. And you could probably say I've been on that pathway, and our trajectory led to where we are now. In the moment, though, I don't think I had any thought that I'd be doing this and doing what I'm doing right now.
Now, I truly believe all of us have a moment where we feel the pull. And we were kind of talking about the pull prior to us starting to record, where something inside says, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to do. What was that moment for you when it came to public service?
Yeah, so I was a student after I graduated Andrews High School here in High Point. I actually went to Howard University in Washington, D.C., and I was a student there. I was in a marching band. I was drumline captain, having a good time. I was on a full ride, enjoying Washington, D.C., just all the things that go with college life. And my sophomore year, Myra, unfortunately, things kind of started to go downhill. I didn't keep my grades as high as I needed to. I needed to maintain a 3.0 to keep my scholarship at the time. I think I got so excited about college that I was maintaining like a C plus average, which wasn't high enough. I some key relationships I ended up losing. And then everything sort of came to a seminal moment where at the end of the first semester of my sophomore year at Howard University, I ended up actually getting mugged on Georgia Avenue in Washington, D.C. And I'll never forget, it was November 29th, 2011. And I was walking to the corner store with a friend of mine, and came out of nowhere. My jaw was broken and wired shut for 4 weeks, lost a lot of weight. And it was at the end of the semester. So after my surgery, my mother and grandparents came to pick me up, came back home. And believe it or not, that ended up in some ways being a blessing, because I ended up recommitting my life in terms of my faith, getting what felt like just getting back on track, getting a better perspective. And at that time, I started to commit myself to more public service. I was working in the schools. I was heavily involved in our community, helping organizations with fundraising and things of that nature. I was working with young people a lot, doing a lot of mentoring programs. I taught the marching band at my alma mater, did that for 7 years. It was actually a good pivotal moment for me where I started to get into public service in that way. And eventually, as we were doing the work, working in schools, Myra, we were impacting a lot of young people's lives, but there were also some who fell through the cracks. Some who, were talented, very smart, fell through the cracks, not because they didn't care or because they didn't have people loving them, trying to help them, but they fell through the cracks because, they came from some of the most impoverished zip codes in the entire state. They came from situations where the home was not ideal. Families were broken, parents incarcerated. Maybe there were substance use disorders in play. And kids are formidable and resilient, but it's also very, very hard to overcome your situation sometimes. It's like the rose that grows from the concrete. We admire the resilience of the rose, but we never ask ourselves, why the heck did we ask it to grow from the concrete in the first place?
Yes.
And it felt like something we were asking our young people to do. And I recently had the privilege of hearing Larry Miller speak. Larry Miller was the lead chairman, I think president of the Jordan brand at Nike. And he kind of tells his story of how he came to be who he is. But he talked about the fact that, talent is universal, but opportunity is not. And I felt that even though I was an educator working with some of the most talented young people who I thought could really do anything in the world, their opportunities were just not the same as other folks and other zip codes, so on and so forth. And so it was at that time that I knew that I wanted to do something that could have an impact on that, where, your zip code or your neighborhood didn't have to somehow restrict you from what you could be, that your life expectancy could come with expectation. And I decided to run for office. It was at that time that I knew eventually I would run for office, and eventually made that decision, made the announcement. I was 26 years old when I made the announcement. And since then, I've just been running ever since.
Now, you were young when you stepped into this arena. How did you deal with people who doubted you, your age, or underestimated your abilities? Because I know it was some people that was like, what is this young man going to think that he's going to accomplish in this role? Yeah.
Myra, I get phone calls from young people looking to run for office who ask me about how I got started in the same way. And I tell them, I was 26, I made that announcement, and good meaning people in our community, when they met me, maybe some of them would reach out. they say, young man, you're passionate. We love your energy. We love, what you're doing for young people. Maybe you should wait your turn. Maybe this isn't a good time for you. Maybe you should let the folks who have been in this community longer get a chance. And if you don't win it this go round, just don't give up. We love to see our young people trying. And I never forget something my uncle said to me. He said, nephew, what you don't have in expertise and experience, you make up for in energy.
Yes.
And you don't leave any door unlocked. You shake every single hand. You kiss every single baby. You don't leave a stone unturned. You're going to make sure that you go into this fight knowing no one's going to outwork you. And we took that mentality. Along the way, there was a lot we had to learn, Myra. I was passionate about what I thought we could do here in the city, but public service means nothing if you're not willing to listen and represent well. Yeah. And so I'm developing a real capability to be with people and hear them and make sure that whatever you commit to doing, you actually go do. Mm-hmm. And I think that was the reason, Myra, why, after 4 very effective years on city council, when I announced running for mayor, there were still some people like, you're so young, 30 years old, you got your family, maybe you should wait your turn. And what I believed was there was no one better suited for this time to lead the city. No one better suited to help the city realize all of its capabilities, to help the people of the city be able to see just how great High Point could be. And over this past 6 years now, we've been doing just that, helping everyone see how great High Point can be and letting them know that we don't get there without them. And so our brand of leadership is very inclusive, very engaging, but most importantly, very effective.
So listen, let's talk about the history-making moment. You didn't just win, you shifted the story of High Point, literally. When you realized you were not only the first African-American mayor, and that's a big and, the youngest mayor too, how did that make you feel? What did that moment feel like?
It was so good to celebrate with all the people who were with us. I should probably say this, that the well-meaning folks who, early on maybe told me that I should wait my turn are also the same folks who eventually end up being some of the very best partners and collaborators and colleagues when it came to work we were trying to do to move this city forward. That we don't get to where we are today without so many people who not only came before me to pave the way, but also the people who came alongside me and my wife and our friends for the work that we were trying to do. And I'm grateful because I think this city is full of great leaders who don't mind mentoring young people. And it's been the mentorship that's meant a ton. And so when you ask me what the moment feel like, it felt like a validation of something that we've believed in for a long time, that to go fast, you go alone, but to go far, you got to go together. And that was exciting. That was very reassuring.
Now, one thing that I do want to ask about is, how has it been race relations for you? Because with the climate that we're in now, and with us being in the South, and there's all the things about the South and the history and blah, 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 that we don't have to even get into. How were the race relations? How were you received by other races other than your own?
I mean, very, very welcoming, very engaging. I think what I wanted to make clear to people that, I was going to be your mayor, regardless of who you are, regardless of your background, regardless of what you look like, regardless of where you come from. I'm here to ensure that this city moves ahead for everyone, that every corner of our city feels and believes in the promise of High Point. And I think people grab hold to that, Myra, because when I said it, still to this day, I mean it with every ounce of my being. With every breath I take, I truly believe that the only way we move the city forward is together, and that you can't just focus on this neighborhood or that side of the train tracks or this company or whatever. It's got to be a way that moves the whole thing forward. Because if anyone gets left behind, we didn't hit our mark. If someone gets left behind, we didn't reach our full potential. And I mean, people just grabbed a hold to that in a way where not only did we make history, Myra, but if I could just say this very respectfully, we won with a victory in a margin that was very decided. It was the biggest margin of victory that you've seen in the mayor's race in modern history.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't like some close call. It was a huge, we won by 12 points.
Oh,
and
really?
in our city's history, in modern history, mayors were winning maybe by a percentage point or 2, maybe 5. To win by 12, and don't get me wrong, we didn't run against a guy who, was a nobody. I mean, we ran against someone who was he himself was also a city council member, a business owner, had much more money than I had. I mean, a guy who served our country as a Marine. To be clear, I think he loves this country and also loves this community. But the vision that we were putting forward just found it to be much more compelling. And I think, love somehow has a way of helping us all elevate beyond the noise and elevate beyond our differences. And we tried to run with a campaign of love, tried to believe that we could do much more with love than what we could do with anything else.
I like that. I like the idea of a cohesiveness of the community. And I think that's what it boils down to. Like you said, it doesn't matter the color, the area that you're from, but the cohesiveness and the fact that we all want to be okay, no matter what that looks like. So for the folks who might not be close to High Point, give us a picture. What's happening in High Point right now that you're excited about?
So High Point's been going through our own citywide revitalization for the past decade, probably. When I first learned about this revitalization, I was a young man. I remember hearing about it and being excited because as someone who grew up in the city, I can tell you, I've got some classmates who said, "Oh, I'm leaving High Point and never coming back. There's nothing happening in High Point." Now those same classmates, when they come back, they're like, "Oh crap, what happened to our little city?" And High Point, a city of 120,000 residents roughly. So we're not huge, but we've got a good size of folks with resources and with skills and talents that when we all get together and make our mind up to do something, we end up really doing some really marvelous, really fun, really amazing things. And so this revitalization that's been going on, most of it you see in our downtown with the multi-use stadium. Not only is there the professional baseball and professional soccer team down there, but the activation of concerts and festivals. We got Winter Glow going on down there now. But what spawned from that is all the other investment around it with hotels and apartments going up and restaurants and nightlife and all that. So revitalization has been going on at High Point. You can feel that sort of energy and atmosphere going on. We're also, like other communities, trying to figure out how to navigate the crisis of a housing shortage and how that impacts cost of living. And so as a government, we're trying to do our part to be a good partner to make sure that we can help facilitate that housing development. That doesn't always mean that we're leveraging taxpayer dollars to do it. However, when we do have to leverage taxpayer dollars, we're getting a great return on investment. So for $2 million of city taxpayer funding, we got $38 million in private and philanthropic funds to be able to support that and make a $40 million housing fund that facilitates thousands of housing units. So again, there's a time and space to use public funds, but there's also a time and space where we don't need that. Sometimes we just want to be good about our permitting process to ensure that when you come to the city of High Point, that you don't feel like your deal is being held up. In the world of development, they often say time kills deals. And so if we're doing it well, we're making sure that we get you in and out, that we still abide by all the rules of building safety, and no one has to worry that High Point's not doing its due diligence when it comes to that. But we're also ensuring that we can get homes built faster. So that work's going on. We're very excited. We won the All-America City Award in 2024, which is a big deal. Hundreds of applicants from around the country applied, and only 10 won the award. And so we were one of those 10 that have won it, and we won it because of our work, not only to support our small businesses, the work we did to rebrand our city, where we boldly declare that what we create in High Point changes the world, but also it was the work we did to address food insecurity. where we were amongst the hungriest cities in America at one point, Myra. We turned that challenge into a real opportunity. We flipped it on its head. We took all of the empty lots, not all of them, but quite a few empty lots in our core city, and work with local nonprofits like the Greater High Point Food Alliance or Growing High Point and others to think about how we could leverage those and turn those into these urban gardens. And in these urban gardens, they're being kept by folks in the community. And a lot of times what's happening is young people are going and getting trained as young farmers in training, who then learn how to not only grow a product, but take that product to market and sell it at the farmer's market. So now they'll learn how to be small business owners and entrepreneurs, while also getting the workforce development and job training, while also addressing the food insecurity issue and eradicating food deserts, while also trying to make sure that within a neighborhood, if you got a garden that's right there in the middle of your street, that's life that's been added into that neighborhood. So there's been a lot of value with that. There was also some innovative work done to take our old library bookmobile and turn it into the Grow Dega. Now, shout out to Growing High Point for this idea, because I just think it's the dopest in the world. They came to us with it. All we had to do was be willing to say yes. We gave them this library bookmobile, and it was turned into this mobile grocery store, the Grow Dega, that goes to neighborhoods and food deserts every single week to ensure that if you can't get to the grocery store, you don't have to worry. The grocery store is going to come to you. And you can come on this mobile grocery store, you can get your produce, your other products, whatever you need to cook and provide for your family in that week. We got it. So it's things like that that's going on in High Point. We just had the ribbon cutting for the new troll, Little Sally, that's in our city. You may have seen that on social media. That's fun, but that is an homage or it sort of is an appeal back to who we are as this very creative design city. A lot of times when you think about High Point, you think about us as the furniture capital of the world. What's baked into that is all the design that goes along with that. People who are designing not just furniture, but other products around lighting and rugs. There's interior designs and home designers and architects. It is a real community of design that happens here. We've been investing in that. We made the bold declaration that we are the city where design never goes dark, that year round, if you are in that industry, you can come and make it here. We will be fertile ground for you. And that's just a plug to everyone listening right now to this podcast. You can come to High Point and make it. But we got really, really bold about that. And, Little Sally and the opening of that is a part of that story, but there's so many other pieces that are part of that. I was in conversation today with some local folks who are helping us continue to grow that brand on a global stage and just being heavily invested.
So you're breaking barriers, you're carrying history, and you're doing it in real time, which I absolutely love. What's been one of the biggest lessons or challenges for you so far?
Barack Obama has this quote where he says, you can have anything and you can do anything. You just can't do it all at once. And if you hear that, you might also like the way Dr. Nito Cubain, president of High Point University, kind of says it. He says, everything is possible, but only on the right timeline.
Yes.
Trying to, when you're in this work, you want to affect change. And don't get me wrong, we've been very successful. We've been answering the call. The promises that were made are also promises kept. Violent crime down 75% in the city, thousands of jobs created, small businesses supported. We brought back our Black Wall Street. We've just been doing it, investing in housing. You heard about the food security work. We became the first certified autism destination on the entire East Coast to declare to the entire world that regardless of who you are with different abilities and special needs, we want you and we'll take care of you, right? Like we've been moving the needle in a substantial way. But that said, you cut me open, and what you'll find on the inside of me is I want you to do twice as much stuff in that amount of time. And there's people, I've got a great city manager here, Tasha Logan Ford. I think she's the best city manager in the entire country. That's not a plug for any government to try to offer her more money, though. She often reminds me, Mayor, we are rocking and rolling, and we're getting so much stuff done. And you compare us to other cities, and we've got a lot to be proud about. But we also recognize that we haven't gotten it all figured out. I said violent crime is down 75%. Our police chief will tell you the work ain't done until violent crime is down to 0, right? So there's more work to be done. We created thousands of jobs, but there are still people who are unemployed. We're seeing graduation rates improving in our local schools, but there's still some kids who have dropped out, right? We want to make sure that for everyone, if you choose it, that the opportunity is there, and that we are fertile ground, and we've got more we want to do. So the greatest challenge for me, Myra, believe it or not, it's not, is there a willingness of people to want to work with you? Can you get the stuff done? We absolutely have the people, and we've been doing the stuff. It's really a matter of wanting to do it all at once and just wishing you could snap your fingers and have it all done. But that ain't life. And we've been making peace with the process of getting stuff done. And thankfully, we've got a community that trusts us. And when we say, hey, look, here's the timeline, it's going to take us a little while to realize it, but we will do it. We've developed, I believe, some social capital there because we've been delivering on stuff that we promised to do.
Yeah, and transparency is important too. And I know that High Point appreciates that too, and not creating outlandish timelines. You're giving them the real truth. Mm-hmm. So now you're busy taking care of High Point and everything else. Where do you go spiritually, mentally, emotionally to recharge yourself so that you can show up for your family the way you show up for your city?
Yeah. So a couple of thoughts here. Let me just shout out my pastor, Dr. Harvey Chip Rice. Love him, and his wife, Thursday Brown Rice. They are the leaders, the shepherds at Maranatha Fellowship. You can find us. We have service 9:30 a.m. every Sunday at Communion Point. I believe our address off the top of my head is 1215 East Chester Drive. If that's not right, you can Google it. But shout out to them because I know they're always praying for us, counseling us when we've gone through tough and trying times. They've been there. So when you talk about spiritual guidance, I got to shout out our spiritual leaders. Also got to shout out, just mentors galore. Reverend Dr. Frank Thomas, Alex Moore. I mentioned Cubane. There are people who have just been there for us. Douglas Witcher. People who have been mentors who pray for us. Dr. Bob Brown. I don't know if you know the name Bob Brown and what he's meant to this country, but people like them who mentor and pray for you and are thinking about you in very meaningful ways. Del McCormick. I feel like I'm getting in trouble now because I'm probably forgetting some folks. So shout out to them as mentors and leaders here in the city who support people like me and our family. But to really answer the question, what makes all this possible, Myra, God gives me strength, but quite frankly, my wife gives me permission. If I can say that.
Yes.
My wife, Raven, is the best doggone person I know. She is my best friend. No one I'd rather be with. And when I'm out late, doing whatever I'm doing, I only do that because she is so strong for our family. And then in her own right, professionally, she's just a rock star. She heads up the High Point Schools Partnership, supporting High Point schools here and its students. So she's a rock star in that way, and she's a civic leader, serving on boards and doing a bunch of other things. There's a lot of people who tell me the only person who I'd lose a mayor's race to is her. And then, love her. And of course, our boys, Cyril and Royce, we just love them. And they make us so proud every single day. And, they're very well aware of what my job requires. And we talk about it. And they're honest with themselves about missing me, but also proud of that work. They'll say it like, Dad, someone of our friends, they mentioned they saw you do this, or they were glad that you could, be involved in that or whatever. So they feel and recognize the impact, and we just make sure when we are together that it is family time. We make the most out of family time and try to have some non-negotiables with that too. Like Sunday is a family day. If I got to come out, because it's, like parades typically on Sunday. So we'll go do parades that are on Sundays. But I think most people know, hey, Sunday is a family day, and I try to make that a non-negotiable thing. We're going to go to church, and maybe we're going to my grandma's house, eat dinner. But aside from that, we're going to be at the crib together, playing games, checking in on each other. So yeah, you asked me about recharging. Time with family, time with friends and loved ones is a great time to recharge. And of course, faith.
Yes.
Praying every single day That's how we get ahead.
Yeah, and it's so important for you to have someone in the background that's keeping you covered, not just like security purpose wise, but spiritually, and just keeping you covered in a way where no matter what you're doing, no matter what you got going on, you feel that love and you feel that covering. So I'm so glad that you have that with your family. Now, Black History Month is about honoring where we came from, but also lifting up where we're going. What would you say to the next generation of leaders who are watching you, maybe doubting themselves or thinking, oh, you're too young or not ready to run as the people told you? What do you hope your story inspires in them?
Yeah, I would hope that, if someone's listening to this, while I talked about that willingness to sort of go against the grain, despite when people were saying, hey, you're too young, so on and so forth. What I didn't mention that I probably should mention is I took what they were saying to heart, in that I knew they meant well. I think what people were saying is when you're young, there's things you just don't know about the world yet. And that's true. Like, I'm 33 now, and I can tell you, I feel like I know much more than I did when I was first sworn in at 27. And I find myself telling my kids all the time now, I'm like, son, when you get older, you understand. So I know people were coming from a good place. And what I had to do was to be humble enough to say, though I'm a leader, it doesn't mean I'm the one making all the decisions. I don't have to know everything. And so there was real value in having the right folks around you, real value in listening well, and having a growth mindset, just being very, very clear that how we get ahead. I mean, we said it, to go fast, you go alone, but to go far, you got to go together. Like, making sure that you value the voices of good people around you, and make sure you take time to appreciate them, and don't get too big for your britches, as my grandma would say. That though I can't harp on it enough, that we just don't do this work in silos. No man is an island. We need the people around us, and those who have imparted wisdom to me over the years, going and seeking out wisdom. Solomon talks about it, that you can have all the riches and all the fame and all the other good stuff, but I mean, you don't have wisdom. What the heck do you have?
Yes.
And so I've been grateful to have a lot of good wisdom imparted into me, and I still take the method of listening, and being clear, like, there's a lot I don't know, and I'm humble enough to say to someone, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, but I promise you, we're gonna work hard to get it right. And how can we work together to do that? And forgiving people, and so I'm blessed to have learned some of that stuff at a young age. And every day, though, you got to put it into practice. I'm hoping that other young leaders put that into practice. Final thing I say here, Myra, is that, I used to hear them say birds of a feather flock together. I never really knew what that meant. But when I would mentor some young people, what I tell them is that an eagle flies at a certain height, and a pigeon does not fly at the same height as an eagle. Therefore, if an eagle and a pigeon are flying at the same height, the only way that happens is that the eagle came down too low. Yes. And that's a problem, because when eagles fly low, they put themselves in danger. Eagles have to stay at the highest of heights to avoid that danger and to soar at what their potential is. And so I encourage folks that if you want to soar to high heights, you got to be flying with people who can fly at that height. So find good people to have around you. Find good mentors. Literally, who you walk hand in hand with is how you succeed, is how you get ahead.
Yes, I love that message. You almost made me want to shout a little bit when you was talking.
Come on.
Now, as we get ready and prepare to start wrapping up our conversation, this question just popped in my head, and I just wanted to ask you, what song do you listen to when you need to like hype yourself up? What's something that you like if you're having a bad day or you're going into something that's stressful? What song gets you pumped up and ready for your day?
And there are a number of songs I could go to. I'm gonna go to one that I really like by Maverick City Music, called "Man of Your Word," and Chandler Moore sings on it. Mm-hmm. If he said it, we believe it.
Yes,
because you're a man of your word. And that keeps me hyped. It lets me know that the battle is not mine, but it's the Lord's. And so I like to keep that in my spirit.
I think that's the perfect place for us to end. Mayor Jefferson, thank you so much for your time, your transparency, and your leadership. You are literally walking history, and we're grateful to witness it. And I'm very, very thankful for you taking a moment to share space and time with me today. Family, make sure you stay connected, stay inspired, and continue celebrating Black excellence, not just in February, but every day. This has been another Moment with Myra. Until next time.
This is for my model ties with a Coke bottle. And to my full figures, I push up on your full throttle. Yeah, baby, stop playing on me. You can get all the work, I even put in OT. I'm on go mode, thought I'd let you know this a land of romance. You super classy, but when you vibing with me, we getting nasty. Yeah, never trashy. I'ma dive in it, lick it, slide in it, girl. That's what I like. Only for the night sight, I'ma need you a few more times. Had to keep it real, you know the drill. Now bring that ass here. Shit. Girl, we got all night, quit playing. Let's do what we came to do. Cause you know what I need from you. Oh baby, and girl, mamacita, señorita, let me freak ya. From the club to the crib, I'ma show you what it is. I've done one. My drip up on the mill, tell your mama chill. She out and ready and steady, might just get to it. I'ma have to tell her, give me 6 feet. She acting big, check the swag all up on me. Ay, Miss Jackson, what you want? Be aware, I'ma show you I'm full grown. I know you here for a good time, not a long time. But listen, can we make it both? You got what I need, I got what you want. Understand what the vibe is. You looking like you ready to go. You ain't got dressed up to the night. So dangerous, you out of line.
Look, ma'am, you knew exactly what you were doing when you put that on.
Girl, we got all night, quit playing. Let's do what we came to do. Cause you know what I need from you. Oh baby, and girl, mamacita, señorita, let me break ya. From the club to the crib, I'ma show you what it is. I've done one. You got my undivided attention, so is any lady. I saw you from across the room and I was just wondering maybe if you'd like to take a tour of the crib. You can bring your friend too. Hey, listen, I'd like to show you things. I can have you pulling up in the Benz or a photo range. Cause I can show you the world. Take my hand, let's explore. Got all night, quit playing. Let's do what we came to do. Cause you know what I need from you. Oh baby, and girl, mamacita, señorita, let me break ya. From the club to the crib, I'ma show you what it is. I've done one.